find the ace game is quite simple. This is the whole concept. A player will be presented with 3 cards. One of the cards is ace and the other 2 are queens. After the player has made his choice, one of the queens will be shown to the player and the player will be given 2 options. Either he doubled down on his first choice, that is, he is sure of his first choice that he will gamble more of his credit, or he decides to continue and finish the game. Let us scroll to the top of the program where we forward declared the function. It's right here, find the ace, and we can decide to copy it. Come back to the bottom, make space, and let's give this function a body. Now before we write anything, let us leave some comment. First, we will declare an integer that we will use for looping. Now this should be for the ace. This variable will store the value of our ace and we will get them randomly. Also, we can declare our total wager because, as I said, you have the chance to gamble twice. Let us declare a variable and call it invalid choice. Now this variable will also hold the value of whatever card the player will pick. Now let us define wager 1 and also wager 2. No, we set it to -1 instead, which means that the total wager will be wager 1 plus wager 2, and wager means the number of credits you want to gamble. Now we come here and we also define choice 2. So first the user will make a pick, and if he decides to, let's say, change it, he can have a second choice. Let us create an array of length 3, and this will just contain these placeholders to be SSX. So initially when we print this card to the user, nothing will be revealed, only XSX. So beneath this XSS will be 2 queens and 1 ace. We will use the random number generator to get our ace. So randomly we get the ace value and we store it right here. Now at this point we can print some information to the user as to how this game works. Alright, we give the user instruction. You'll be presented with 3 cards. 1 is ace, 2 are queens. Now you make your choice. After making your choice, one of the queens will be reviewed. At this point, you can either select a different card or you can just increase the wager. That is, you double down and you are sure that your first pick was right. Now, as usual, if your credit is less than 0, you cannot play, right? I say, sorry, you don't have enough credit to play. Once again, we return -1. Now, if this statement doesn't run, it means the user has enough credit to play the game. Alright, so the first thing that we will do is we ask him the number of credits that he wants to gamble, just as we did for the other game. So we can do a while loop here and we will say while the first wager is equal to -1, we can say wager 1 is equal to take wager, and inside the take wager we will pass the credit. And because this is wager 1, there are no previous wager or gambling credit. Okay, so we pass player.credit and 0. Now after this point we can print the card right to the user. Let us look at our print card function again. We pass a message and also a pointer to the card and the card we are picking. But as you can see, if the user pick is -1, it means the user has not made any choice, right? Then we will give the user instruction to pick 1, 2 or 3. Tell him that there are 3 cards available, so pick 1. Okay, so we come here and the instruction will be dealing cards, right? The pointer to the card, so we will point the card to this. This is the array that we have created for the card. So because it's array, it will default to a pointer. So we will do this, or you can also do this if you want to give it the address of the first element, right? It's more or less the same, but let's delete it, make it simpler, and we will get it -1. So we are not making any pick. After printing the cards, then we can go ahead and set pick to -1. Now we have to tell the user to pick something. Now there are only 3 cards available and the user can either pick 1, 2 or 3, which means that any value below or beyond that is out of bounds, right? While pick is less than 1 or greater than 3, we will keep on asking the user to input a new number. You can say select a card, right? 1, 2 or 3. whatever the user will put in, we will assign it to the address of pick, just like that. Now at this point we need to adjust the value the user picked. We have 3 cards, 1, 2, 3, but because it is in an array and an array is addressed from 0, we have 0, 1, 2. Okay, so we need to adjust this to make it work with the array. We can initialize the variable that we created. Okay, we want to use it now. Now in the game, we said that after the user has made his pick, we will show him one of the queens. Okay, so let us do a while loop. We have to make sure we are only showing him one of the queen, right? While E is equal to ace, and we don't want to show him what he picked previously. Then after doing that, then we can go ahead and get the cards, and we set that character to kill. Immediately after setting this to queen, we can print the cards. So here the message will be revealing a queen, and we pass a pointer to our cards to it. And what is the user pick? Now this time the user has a pick, so we give it the user pick. Now we are at the point that we will give the user the opportunity to either double down on his first choice or change to a different card. So he will make a second wager here, or gamble twice. We can call the invalid choice and we set it to 1, right? And we'll loop it while invalid choice. We can tell the user, if you want to change your option, this is the time. Would you like to increase your wager or change your pick? You can say select either E or C. Alright. Once we give him this information, then we can scan for the value that he picks. So we can start by setting the choice true to line break, and inside the while loop we can do while choice 2 is equal to this. We will scan for the user's choice. We can do scanf. Choice 2 is a character. Choice 2. Shouldn't forget, this is supposed to be an address. After getting the user's choice, we can go ahead and check whether he wants to either continue or he wants to gamble more of his credit. If choice 2 is equal to E, it means that he wants to wager more of his credit. We will set the invalid choice to 0. Yeah, because after this we don't want to loop again. After setting the invalid choice to 0, we can do while the wager 2 is equal to -1. We will call the wager function. This time we will pass the available credit and also the previous wager. So we will do wager 2 is equal to take wager, and we pass player.credit, and the previous wager this time will be wager 1. Okay, once we have this done, the next thing that we will do is we can also check if the user chooses to continue. That is when choice 2 is equal to C, when he decides to change to a different card. So in the same case, we will set invalid choice to 0 because we don't want this to run again. And after that, although he's changing his choice, we have to make sure it's neither what he picked before or the queen that we showed him. I mean, it could be true that what he picked before was the ace, but he doesn't know at this point. He's changing his mind. So we can do while E is equal to pick, that is his first choice, or we showed him a queen while index of E inside the card is equal to, and we have to make sure that his second choice is none of these. So we will do A++. Okay, after we found it, then we can now set his pick to the other card, right? So now we loop and we make sure that his second choice, he's changing it, right? But now because he's changing it, he doesn't have the power to say he wants 2 or 1, but rather we are looping through and making sure that his second choice is not the same as his first choice here, and also is not the same as the queen that we show. So we set it to the last card that is found because we only have 3 cards. Then we can print a message and tell him that your card pick has been changed to. Now because in indexing we use 0, so we have to add this to this. Okay, basically at this point we can show him the cards and let him know whether he won or he didn't win. Come outside the while loop and write a comment, review cards. And let's do a simple for loop. We use the index that we created up, and this is less than 3, then E++, right? We will do if the ace and we already randomly selected the ace. If the ace is equal to E, then we want to set that index in the card to, we want to set it to A, right? Else set it to queen. Very simple logic. So loop through the 3 cards, and whatever index equals the ace, make it this, set that character to A, and the rest should be Q, representing queen. After doing this, we can print the cards again for him to see. We can say revealing cards, right? We give it the cards pointer and the user's pick, just like that. So after this point, we are going to handle whether the user won or lost. We know the user won if the pick equals the randomly set ace. You have won dash credit from your first wager 1. Then we can add wager 1 to his credit. If wager 2 is not equal to -1, we also have to add wager 2 to his credit. He won twice. We can put this in curly braces, and before that we can print a message, let's say an additional credit from your second wager, right? Wager 2. Now if he didn't win, else make sure you correct this. If pick is equal to ace, double. Now if pick is not equal to ace, then he lost. We can tell him that you have lost this number of credits, right, from your first wager 1. Then we subtract it from his credit. We can say if wager 2 is not equal to -1, then he use it. Then we can tell him that additional lost credits from wager 2, and we subtract from his credit. So by the time we come here, we are done with the game and we return 0. Now bear with me, find the ace game is probably the complex among the 3 games. Now that we have completed the find the ace function, we can go ahead and compile our program and start debugging. Open the terminal and go to the directory where I created my C file. So that is it, and I'll compile it. So these are the warnings that we got. We'll go through and fix each one of them. The first one is giving this error and is saying get the player is invalid. Okay, so we are calling a function get the player and it's invalid. So let's find the problem. Let's scroll to the top of our program and see the function prototypes. So these are our function prototypes. It seems there is no get the player, but we are calling get the player function here. Instead of calling the function get player data, we are calling get the player. Okay, so this is the function get player data. So let's correct it. We clear this, get player data. The next error, what is it saying? Main C line 62 int pointer, but argument has type int. Okay, so let's go to main file line 62. Right about here we are calling scanf, and with scanf you pass a pointer. Let's add this. So we corrected that. Let's see the next one. The next one is saying expression results on use, play the game. Okay, it means play the game. We are returning something. First, let's check the function prototype. Play the game, we are returning an int. So if we are returning an int, then we need to use it. Let's go to how we defined it. Yeah, so obviously this function is not supposed to return anything. It's supposed to be void. So let us remove the int and put void. Now when you do this, make sure you go back to the function prototype, and also let's correct this. It's supposed to be void, not int. The next error is saying main.c line 152 scan. Okay, so we shouldn't forget, always when you call the scan, you need to pass a pointer, that is to the address. So let's go to 152. Yeah, right here we are calling the scan input character. We need to pass the pointer to the address. Then obviously here too we need to fix this. Let's check the next error. Now this error is interesting. It's saying comparison between pointer and integer, character pointer and int, while select is equal to this line 278. let's go to 278. Okay, this is 278 and we are using this while loop while this is equal to new line. But as we can see, select is an array of characters of length 50. This array is for storing the user's input. Alright, now because this is an array, we are saying select is equal to this. So obviously we need to only get the first element in the array. Alright, so if the user, for example, types yes, we are only getting the first character. While the first character is a new line, it means the user hasn't entered anything. So we'll be waiting for his input, right? Let's see the next error. Let's run it again. So go to the command line and I have typed gcc and main.c. Okay, now what are we getting? Expression result unused. Play the game. Line 76. That is main line 76. Okay, this is the line. Now you see the mistake. We are calling a function, so we need to bring this. Okay, let's run it again. gcc main.c. Alright, now the program runs. So we will run it like this. Oh, our program is here. So now we've been provided with the options.